Winter of Anime 2019 is finally here. Boogiepop, Episode 1 and Episode 2 came out at the same time. So, just as a brief FYI, if you only watched Episode 1, then you need to watch Episode 2, because this video will contain spoilers for Episode 2, because both episodes came out at the same time. I guess you could kind of say it was a 1-hour special. But yeah, I just want to quickly clarify that in case some of you are unaware and you only watched one episode, like a 20-minute episode, and you're unaware that there was another 20 minutes to watch. So, Boogiepop is a series that has been recommended to me for a while. As soon as it was announced to get an anime, many were going out of their way to tell me to talk about it, to tell me, like, hey, I need to watch this series. When it finally comes out, I need to watch it. Now, I personally don't really have a history with Boogiepop. Like, I've really never made any videos on it. I've never really discussed it. I've been very aware that it's a popular series, and many have told me that it's like a classic, and I should give it a shot. Now, from what I do know of, from what looking into a little bit I saw from Boogiepop, is that it is a very iconic series. Like, it has inspired a lot of writers in the light novel industry, like people that write light novels, let's say Monogatari and all that. You know, this series, Boogiepop, inspired Monogatari. Also, Boogiepop inspired Nasu, the writer of Fate/stay night. So if you're wondering why Boogiepop's first episode and second episode feel very eerily similar to Karno Kyokai, well, it's obvious because Nasu was, you know, inspired by Boogiepop. But okay, leaving it at that though, my personal first impressions of this now, getting into Boogiepop episode 1 and 2, it's very eerie. It's a series that honestly reminds me of a classic anime, which I think what Madhouse was doing or what they were going for makes sense. Because, honestly, this first episode and second episode remind me of Serial Experiment Lain. If you've never seen Lain, which I reviewed a while back, then you will know how this is very similar in terms of just the presentation of where you're like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand. There's so much mystery, and you can interpret it in different ways, like kind of with the time skips and stuff that was going on in these first 2 episodes. So yeah, Boogiepop. It's a very confusing start to the story. It's kind of like the writer, or at least the way Madhouse is presenting it, because I've never seen the original source, so I don't know how much it differs from it, but it seems like, at the very least, the writing of the anime, it's going out of its way to hide details. It's trying to keep us out of the loop where we don't know what's going on at all. We have no idea who is who, what's really happening, who has allegiance to who. That's kind of what you can get from, you know, these first 2 episodes. And I can see many kind of being turned off by that fact, because it's not a typical start for an anime. Normally, when an anime comes out for any season, not just winter, but, you know, any season, usually they want to present the characters, or at least the MC, and they want to present the main plot, what's going on. But that doesn't seem to be the case with Boogiepop, episode 1 and 2. It seems like more along the lines the writer wanted to give us questions, like, what's going on here, what's happening, what is the order of events, and, you know, who's a bad guy, who's a good guy, because there was many things that were presented in the first 2 episodes that makes you wonder, is the man-eater, like the Manticore, even though she is doing some horrible things, is she truly a bad person? Because she was created, a clone, and she's just running away because she doesn't want to be, like, you know, thrown into a lab or whatever and experimented on. I mean, there's a lot of questions that pop up while watching these first 2 episodes, and you have no idea who really is good and who is bad until, like, I guess the final moment of episode 2, where you can kind of guess at who is potentially bad or not, which I will get into. Boogiepop, with how mysterious it is, I see many being turned off by it, because it's not a typical start. It's not something that I think many are used to, even myself included. I'm not really used to starts like this for anime, and I think the reason why the series is wanting to be like this is because it wants to have, like, a lot of questions build up, and then once it gets to the, like, let's say a finale of this arc it's in right now, it answers everything. Or it could go along the lines of Karno Kyokai, to where it gives you, like, the ending first, and then you go through the events that lead up to that ending. Because when you look at the first episode that came out for Boogiepop, it seems like it's kind of like the conclusion. It's like Boogiepop came to the conclusion that the Manticore threat was finished, done, and, you know, everything is okay. Things will move on, and, you know, the answer to be able to, you know, save humanity, it's up to them. It's nobody else. No other supernatural force can really save them. It's up to them to determine how to change the world and make it a better place. So, I mean, it seems like the first episode was giving us the conclusion, while the second episode was building up to kind of giving us more questions to lead to that conclusion. And if I had to assume anything, episode 3 might be very similar, or it might start diving into giving us answers. But that's what it appears like what the series is trying to do. Like, it's just giving us the ending first, and then building up to what happened in the ending, for us to get a full understanding of it. Like I said, it's very similar to Karno Kyokai, and also why I said it's very confusing, it reminds me a lot of Serial Experiments Lane, is because, you know, Lane was a very confusing series, and there's so many interpretations of it that you can get, that, like I said, this is why I'm reminded of it, because the way the presentation of the first 2 episodes work. So this is made by Studio Madhouse, and if you've been around for a while now, part of, you know, the Chibi community, you know how I feel about Madhouse. I have an interesting relationship with them. I've loved their work in the past. I still love their work, but they've had kind of like a downhill sometimes, uphill, downhill. I mean, one of the recent examples is Overlord. I've talked about this in a lot of different reviews I've done, mainly a Sekai series. Overlord is a series that had so much potential for a good anime, and the anime is good. Like, in terms of adapting the content, I mean, I think Madhouse did a good job, but when it came to the animation art, you know, production, it was very poor. And you can clearly see from the first and second episode of Boogiepop, the artwork isn't really anything to write home about. It reminds me a lot of Parasite, but not as high quality. The backgrounds are very low quality. Like, if you watch the first segment of the episode, not counting the opening and ending songs, obviously, you'll notice that majority of the time you see these characters moving, like one character moving on screen, and the entire background still frame with characters not moving, like, you know, background characters not moving at all. It's very lazy. I feel like in terms of production and art and animation, it's lazy, but I do like the character designs. Like, Boogiepop, love the smug designs and all that, love the facial expressions, but I just think in terms of certain, like, art style or production-wise, like animation, it's not that good. And I fear that once again, this series might be dragged down from the poor production quality of Madhouse that it's had recently, and it's not going to be as good as it potentially can be. I'm not saying I'm putting down Boogiepop as a series, I'm just saying the adaptation from Madhouse might not be up to par. But anything can happen, who knows, maybe I'm just, you know, quick to judge or whatever, but like I said, this is my first impressions on the first 2 episodes. The soundtrack, holy crap, love the soundtrack. And I actually went out of my way to look into it, who was doing the soundtrack. Apparently the same dude that did Ping Pong the Animation soundtrack and Devilman Crybaby soundtrack is the individual that is working on the soundtrack for Boogiepop. So if you notice why the little segment slice of life scenes where nothing's really happening sounds very similar to, let's say, Ping Pong, then here you go. That is the reason. It's because the same composer is working on the music, which I think is fantastic. The music definitely set the tone for these first 2 episodes, and I think it's honestly what carried this amazing presentation for Boogiepop, because even though it has a really good story from what I can see, even if it is a big mystery, I could tell it has a good story, the music is what really helped a lot build up this mysterious vibe to really, you know, question. And so, yeah, and let's not even get into the opening and ending. The opening and ending, holy crap, really good. I mean, what a way to start Winter of Anime 2019, or what a way to start anime of 2019 with such a fantastic first song like that. The opening song is amazing, and so is the ending song as well. Normally when I watch a new series, usually I only care about, let's say, the opening song or the ending song, but I actually like both. I love the opening and ending song for Boogiepop, and I'm probably going to listen to both of them every time a new episode comes out, because it's just that freaking good. But okay, so let's talk about what is going on. So to clarify, what is happening in Boogiepop, or at least from what I can understand, well, Boogiepop is actually a character. Like, it's the name of the series, but it's also the name of this entity, this character, which I'm assuming is basically the main female character. And like I said earlier on in this video, I feel like the first episode is giving us the conclusion of the story, while episode 2 is giving us questions to build up to that conclusion. And Boogiepop, in the first episode, basically appeared to be able to deal with a crisis, a major crisis that can harm humanity, and, you know, Boogiepop just appears randomly. It just happens. And once the crisis is done, Boogiepop disappears. And we see how the MC comes to the conclusion that Boogiepop is going away. He's been friends with this person for a while now, and, you know, he's actually sad that Boogiepop has to go away, which makes for a very interesting exchange, because when the way the episode starts off, you know, Boogiepop, the female character, she actually has a split personality. Boogiepop is a split personality to her, which, like I said, Karno Kyokai vibes, Nasu, you know, and all that, but, yeah, she has a split personality, and she's completely unaware of Boogiepop. And the MC, he's in love with the normal girl. But as he continues to interact with Boogiepop, you can see that he grows fond of her, and in some ways it seems like he might care more about Boogiepop than the own girlfriend that he had, or this girl that he loved, and he wanted to be with her and help her out. And when she finally went away, you could see that he was very sad. So that's what I got from the first episode, is that she was there for a purpose, but she wasn't able to handle the purpose because someone beat her to it, which makes you think that there could be another Boogiepop. I don't know if there could be two at once, or if, the person that was hunting down Echoes at the end of episode 2 was the one that actually dealt with the Manticore. Whatever the case may be, it's clear as day that Boogiepop, even though she was there, she didn't really get to accomplish much. Now, the second episode, it gives us a little bit more answers, but a lot of questions as well. We get to see what was causing the conflict. For instance, why Boogiepop was there in the first place, and also kind of who this Maneater is, this Manticore or whatever. And it's clear as day that the Manticore / Maneater, she isn't really a bad person. Yes, she's eating people. Yes, it's horrible. It definitely spells out a villain or an antagonist, whatever. But the thing is, we gotta look at this from a different angle. The Manticore and all that, she is technically being forced to do that, because she was cloned from Echoes, which is this alien from outer space, and she was cloned against her will, obviously. She had no say in the matter. And when she was created, she was probably to be a weapon or something. She's a failed creation. She got out. And because she doesn't want to be captured, obviously, she's harming people to, elude everybody to where nobody catches up to her. And so she's been into a situation where she's trying to protect herself, which has caused her to do a lot of horrible things. And this dude that found her, that's a part of the school, he is someone that's kind of manipulating her to be able to gain power. So he is definitely not a good dude. While the girl that is the Manticore, even though, like I said, she is a monster, she's very human. She acts human. She is someone that just wants to be safe, wants to love someone, obviously, but she probably will never be able to have that, which is what I think the main conflict of this arc is going to be. And we could assume that she's probably going to be, dead, or she's going to die in this arc because of the first episode when Boogiepop said that it was already settled. So, yeah. But anyways, was it good? Like, was Boogiepop episode 1 and 2 good? Yeah, it was a good and weird start to a series. Definitely an interesting way to begin anime of 2019, not gonna lie. But yeah, I want more. I do want to continue watching. I definitely see why many recommended this series. It definitely is right up my alley for what I like. I love psychological mystery series, thriller, and fill-in-the-blank series as well. It's why I love Higurashi so much, or Karno Kyokai, or Monogatari, is because of how these first 2 episodes were. I just love these type of elements in a story. But I love you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.